Hello and welcome to the Bee Formless Flow Driven CEO podcast. Wednesday vibes. It's Wednesday morning in Tunis. Tunis, have I got that right, Salmine?
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I've got Salmine Sassi here on the show. So welcome aboard or welcome to the show, Salmine.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I'm saying this to everybody, but we've got a lot to talk about and like almost like it feels like this is a bit of a traveling conversation in terms of you live in Lisbon, but you're currently staying with your parents right now for the summer, which is beautiful, no doubt. And when I say traveling, you've been traveling within, I would say, for a lot for the last couple of years. And it's almost like doing all that inner traveling to then be able to come out in terms of what is next for you in your chapter, or what I like to say is you've been almost formless and the next part of iteration of you is coming out, and it's been quite an interesting 2024 and 2025. We've just been having a quick chat pre-show, right? Like, it's been, yeah, energetically, politically, humanity, you name it. And, you've got quite an exceptional background in terms of you're the founder of Starts Africa, which was a hub dedicated to advancing female entrepreneurs through safe spaces, business skills, and resources. You've got a huge amount of experience in the venture building space, and you're currently, working with businesses from a scale and launch perspective. But I think you said it's been more of a focus this year on scale more than anything, and you've been doing quite a lot of consulting. But your biggest mission is that to unlock women's potential, and I love that as a mission in your life. And it sounds like that's what is next for you in terms of you're currently working on or curating and creating what is mastermind retreats, a series of events for women entrepreneurs. So tell us a bit about your journey because yeah, you've had a business, you were the founder, it sounds like you've exited out of that. You then were venture consulting, and now you're looking to almost go again in something that is what by the sounds of things, what is your dream to do, which is back to that unlocking the women's potential.
hmm Yeah, absolutely. I feel like since I was in high school, we've been an entrepreneurial family. So that's when we started the our first family business, let's say, and that was my first time going into business and the building and all of the finances
I
around
have
it
a
and
little bit of
learning.
that today. Hope you don't mind.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That brings me happiness.
Sorry,
Oh,
keep
honey.
going.
No worries. Yeah, so I said, yeah, it started in high school with a family business and me being in the midst of all of that with my mom and my brother where they were launching it. So the finances going, learning with them as well. Because first one was not a success, second one was a success. Then I worked on a company or a startup that I launched called with a friend called Vintage Tunisia, where we tried to sell handicraft made by rural women in Tunisia in an e-commerce. That failed. That failed. They really failed, like drastically failed.
I love that
Um,
you're smiling about that because I was just speaking to someone on the pod before around failure, and he said he'd failed lots of times, and you just even the way you've just said that failed, that really failed, with this big smile as if to say it's not failure isn't a bad thing. Like it just sorry, I just had to stop you there because I loved seeing you the way you celebrated almost the failure.
no, absolutely not. I think, listen, for me, I think a failure not only a learning experience for you for the future, but also you've done so much. So it's really about the journey. So
Yeah,
throughout this process for you to fail, you've met a lot of incredible people that are probably now your champions who are going to
yeah.
champion you in other journeys or endeavors. You've probably acquired new skills that you unlock that you never know knew existed, right? You now are a great public speaker. You're now, so there's a lot that comes with it. A lot of people think about entrepreneurship or whatever endeavor that we go through in life as the outcome of it. I think of it as the journey and how much fun did I have throughout the whole thing. So it was a very nice experience. I was in MIT Enterprise Forum. I was a finalist. So I was very happy with the experience. I was very young. I was 20, I think, at the 20
Wow.
at that time. So it failed because, yeah, we didn't have mentors. We were doing it on our own. We didn't know how to, do all of these financial plans and models and business plans. And then I went and worked in the entrepreneurial space. So I was working at an accelerator for a long time, I think, maybe like 3 years. And that, led me into building She Starts Africa. I was incubated again as social entrepreneur myself at an incubator called Watson Institute in Boulder, Colorado, in the US. And that's how I launched She Starts Africa as a hub for female founders. And I think that was my biggest venture that actually did well. Then fast forward maybe like 3, 4 years, there was time to say, okay, I want to go ahead and discover the world. I want to be able to travel and go to different countries and do different things and, flip the page on this experience and let other people lead it, and other people did lead it, and they did great and scale it. I think it's also important to know what type of entrepreneur are you. Are you the manager, the builder, the scaler, the grower, the whatever?
What are
For
you?
me, yeah, for me, I've identified I'm definitely the builder. It's like the first stages of the business, right? From maybe it's an idea or an opportunity space to you are in the market and you're doing very well, right? And you're slowly growing. That's where I enjoy the most. But definitely not knowing that you're not the manager is also important. You can be the co-founder and not the CEO. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Uh, don't let ego keep you from actually succeeding with your business.
Yeah, I agree.
um
That's a really good tip, actually. I think the ego getting in the way of succeeding in your business. It's like not asking for help, right? Like ask for help if you need it. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So that led me into, different adventures. I went and lived in Turkey, went and lived in Spain and the Netherlands and Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
Now I'm in Lisbon. So I did a lot of traveling, of staying for a long time in different countries. Uh, I was in the consulting space, so I would say venture building. So it was hands-on doing market research, strategic planning, action plans, running experiments with clients, whether that be their founders or um, bigger projects that support businesses or corporate venturing in different ways. So corporate venturing it has different models, right? Corporate venture building or VC, corporate VC. So it's different things, still in the same space of innovation and venture building, but with different stakeholders. And I wanted to do that. This was my late 20s, I would say, because I wanted to identify where I would do best, what I enjoy best. I am definitely not someone that can do the 9 to 5 of doing the same thing for the rest of my life. If
no.
there isn't a new project and excitement, I'm definitely not gonna be productive. So don't hire me if
Well, I think
in a
it's for me, it's not, you're not going to be shining your brightest. You're not going to be feeling and performing at your best, right? Like that, like, to take just a 9 to 5, I'm the same. Like I can't, like to go back to that, I think would be for me, yeah, it would just be my soul would be feeling like it's being crushed. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's exactly what you're talking about here. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And I feel like my 20s for me have been mostly about career and professional development and skills and network and doing all of these things. And then 30s hit, and turning 30 for a woman is a huge milestone. And it also, because of all of the prejudice around women turning 30, all of the historic, pejorative vocabulary that we use towards to describe women being 30, not being unmarried or with no kids or with no house or with no car, whatever it is, right? Even if you're not in that space, it still impacts you. So turning 30 for a woman changes a lot in a way. It's like reshuffling cards, rethinking, okay, who am I in the world? So on and so forth. Aside from all of the prejudice and cultural expectation that you hear almost every day growing up. So it's in the back of your mind. So it's a combination of these two things. And to me, it was rethinking who I am in the world. Is it just working and building and working on my career, the only thing that identifies me? And then is it just because I have amazing friends? Is it just because I'm a great daughter? And I think of myself as a good daughter, but my mom will say otherwise. But is it just like what I offer to people, let's say around me, whether that be clients, family, or friends? And that's like the struggle I went through, what I've been going through the past three, I'd say, years. I will rephrase that, not the struggle, but the challenge of what we talked about earlier of shedding old selves and rebuilding the new self. I think because of everything that's happening macroeconomically, the politics, the humanitarian crisis around the world, the news that you hear every day, all of these things also impact how you view the world. At least for me, how you view progress, how you view the global majority versus the Western world, how you view like the structure or different ideologies. And when you compare that to microeconomically and yourself and all the struggles that you're going through, and knowing that most most people are going through similar things the past 2 3 years, helped me in a way shed this old self faster than usual, and start recreating, being more into rebuilding a new Salmine that I am still discovering to this day, that I'm trying, yeah, introducing myself to her in a way that's
I
very
love
different.
that. I love that. So yeah, are you only just 30, or like has this been going on for a few years in terms of
I'm 31 going into 32.
oh gosh, it's so interesting that you're talking about this because I'm like 48 this Friday.
Wow.
And
Oh, happy birthday.
yeah, thank you. And it's interesting that, it's my exploration started in my 30s as well, but a little bit later than, kind of the start of, I think maybe at the start of the 30s, it was a bit about that. But it is a time of life as a woman in terms of, there's this expectation. Do I get married? Do I have children? Like,
Mm,
climbing your career, what's important, and so you're going through this shaping period of what is this all about? And this is clearly your exploration in terms of, do I want to just work and that be it? Or do I want to, I always talk about it as, do you want your everything to fit into your life versus your life fitting into work versus, do you know what I mean? And it sounds like that's a really interesting place and space for you right now in terms of what you're exploring, but then this desire to also unlock women's potential as well, because I think as women, we're constantly exploring and wondering what is next. Does that make sense? I guess what I'm talking about here.
absolutely. No, it makes perfect sense. To me, the revelation, or at least me taking a step back, reflecting on everything that I've done, who I am today, happened maybe 8 months ago. And that's when I realized, listen, like, this is what genuinely love doing, working with women, helping them discover what they want to do or how to do it better, or building to me, their businesses is what I know best. So doesn't mean that I can support in every single aspect of life, or at least for now, I'm not equipped enough. But what I'm trying to do, I'm getting my coaching certificate here, I'm getting this there, just to understand also the psychology of women in their 30s building their businesses and empires, or to be equipped with the science behind my intuition or my gut feeling, right? So I know this is happening. I know this is my experience, which is the experience of a lot of women, but I need to study it up in order to support women, and that's what I'm trying to do
Yeah, I did that
right now.
too. I just did it later in life than you. I only did it in the last few years in terms of like I knew from all my lived experience. I have a question for you, and I'd love your thoughts on this because you have been in the venture building space for quite some time. Do you see a lot of women entrepreneurs have started their business out of their own lived experience? Like, or do you see a mix? And I'm not sure if I'm making sense here, but in terms of like, for example, you've almost had a little bit of a life quake or a little bit of a life kind of hang on a second, what's this all about 8 months ago? And out of that has come an idea of what you want to do next, which is around the mastermind, the retreats, etc., etc., and even just what you were talking about then. Do you see that often in women who, women entrepreneurs where they've had an experience in their own personal lives and then they've kind of, because they've been so career driven, like all the time previously, and then the kind of the two mush together to come up with and again, maybe I'm not even making sense what I'm talking about here.
No, you're making perfect
It's
sense.
happened to me with my business, and I was interested to know if you're seeing that a lot with, yeah, women entrepreneurs.
I feel like, yeah, majority of female founders are building things that they face themselves or building solutions for problems that either they face themselves or someone close to them has faced. Women founders in general are impact oriented, so never ask female founder, what's your impact? I mean, we're thinking impact before we're thinking business and finances. So let's not ask female founders that. But yeah, I feel like majority in Africa as a continent in general, most founders are founders of necessity, and most, as especially when it comes to SMEs, our founders are actually women and founders of like entrepreneurs of necessity. So they're building businesses or solutions around a problem in their community, in their family, in their space. So it's it's for me, it's been a majority, right? Uh, I cannot even think of one single person or female founder I worked with that's not been the case. So I'm gonna say majority, just to not say everyone.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love that because yeah, you don't, yeah, I have not thought about it. I haven't put that lens on it, but maybe it is a majority, or maybe it's a majority in Africa, but even in other. I mean, the older I'm getting, the more I'm seeing a lot of, women are like, I don't want to do that anymore. I've got perspective. I've had my break, or I've been exploring what's next for me. And then out of that has come a business or an idea, but it's only from taking the time out, in terms of having that ability to create that space to allow yourself to explore, which is ultimately what you've been doing. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. To me, absolutely. There is something really interesting. When I was working on trying to build this mastermind retreat that's not even out in the market yet, and I'm telling you about it. It's just in my head, in research,
You're
in my
manifesting it.
in docs. So I'm manifesting it. When I was building it and I was thinking of, okay, my targeting, my segmentation, my niche, whatever, it was women in their late 30s, early 40s that I was targeting as well, just because of this, the lived experiences. I feel like 20s is for trying out different things, discovering who you are in the world. 30s is kind of anchoring yourself towards who you are in the world, essentially. And like this is again shedding old self, rebuilding, and that's gonna always happen, right? But I feel like 30s is more about knowing and 20s is more about discovering in a way.
Yeah, you're so
Um,
right. You're so right. Like you
yeah,
actually
no,
get to understand your intuition more in your 30s and it just gets stronger and stronger as you get older. Wait till you hit your 40s and you're like, okay. Now
now I get it. Yeah,
now I'm
yeah,
getting closer to my 50s and I'm like, whoa, this is wild.
yeah. There's so much that comes with age, right? And I think I think a huge part of it is the struggle of living in the world that it is today. And I feel like depending on when you are, where you are in the world, that the expectation of okay, you are discovering yourself in your 20s can be younger in certain countries or contexts just because you're struggling way more. And it can be way older just because you're too comfortable. I think comfort is an issue as well. And a lot, and I'm not gonna give you the exact markets, but there are markets, just so I don't say something that it's not exactly correct. There are markets where people are too comfortable. They pay taxes, they have their transportation, they have their healthcare, everything everything is built around the person to live a very comfortable life. There's work-life balance, so on and so forth. That's where we see less innovation and less entrepreneurs, which is really interesting. And even the entrepreneurs that we see are not very entrepreneurial. They're more of like standard classical type of business owners, or it's like family business of 100 years, right? And we don't see much innovation in those markets anymore. And right now, they're putting in new laws and regulations and whatever in order to support entrepreneurs and building businesses, or people coming from other countries to build businesses in these markets, just because no one is innovating because it's too comfortable. A little bit of struggle is important for our growth,
Yeah,
right?
I think
To
you're
be
right.
you're not, yeah, you're not gonna progress and think of reflect on your 20s and you shed old selves and recreate and rebuild if you haven't struggled throughout your life, or you've been, you know,
Yeah, it's really interesting. And it's really interesting that, even again, we were talking earlier around the whole piece of we're in a new world order, but it's like we've got somewhat of old world, remnants of old world, remnants of old skin, remnants of old layers. And we've almost been transitioning, if you like, for the last, well, probably COVID obviously was 5 years ago now, but it went on for a couple of years, and then everyone was a little bit like shell shocked after it stopped. And then it's almost like been the last couple of years, it's still been very much. I changed during that period of COVID. I can't go back to the way I was, but coming back to your
mm,
comfort piece, but I want to hold on to comfort because I know what I know. Whereas we're in this, you're curious, you're exploring because there's this new world order, and there's this new world order that's there in front of us, and it's just asking us to step into it. And it's being brave enough to have that ability to step into it. So, but the only way we can fully step into it is when we completely shed what no longer
mm,
serves us. Um,
mm,
and so I feel like that's very much a moment in time, a point in time for a lot of women in particular, but also a lot of men, and working out, well, what does that new world look like? But I don't know if we have to have it all defined, if that makes sense. Like it can be loose, it can be a loose like shape or form, how I talk about the formless, etc., in terms of just being able to step into it so that you can imagine it, reimagine it, but then you can start to create and make it possible. And that's when you can, back to your failing and iterating and all of that, there's that ability to do that.
mm.
What's
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. I love everything you're saying. It reminded me of a video of Bruce Lee when he talks about water and he says, be like water.
Yeah,
And
well,
it takes shape
yeah,
of anything it's in. I recommend people to go watch that video. Philosophically, Bruce Lee is incredible. But no, I agree with everything that you said. I think we're in a world right now, the new world order, and everything that's happening in the world, but also all of the sudden changes and the risks, whether it be climate, political, um, all of the things that are happening. I'm not gonna name them, right? Because then we're going into a sad direction. We need to be ready for all of those risks, and we need to plan ahead. But we also need to be um, build resilience and adaptability more than ever before. And resilience is truly resilient, as in, um, I don't know, like my whole business failed and I'm back to square zero and I have maybe $10 in my bank account. I am still resilient, and I know, or I can plan who I'm gonna ask for help, or who's gonna support me in this thing, or how I'm gonna get myself out of this certain thing. And that's in terms of resilience. Adaptability is with things changing. Like before in business schools, we used to study VUCA world, like the ever-changing world. Now I feel like there's another terminology because the changes are crazy. Like you cannot do market research and launch a report once a year. It has to be 4 times a year because
yeah, you're
things
right. We
change.
should be coming up with a new term for VUCA. Maybe, yeah, like you're absolutely right because it is
Yeah, that's
just
not
quick. Yeah.
I don't think that's valid anymore. We need a new terminology for the world. We need reports every other month because things are changing that fast. So adaptability is important. One thing that I see, again, depending on where you are in the world, you either grow up being resilient and have to be adaptable just because of the state of the world or the state of the environment you're in. I don't know if your country has been colonized, if you if you grew up in war zone or in poverty or whatever, these things you grew up with naturally, right?
Yeah.
But if again you grew up in comfort, it doesn't come naturally, so build it now.
Yeah.
So actively build it, actively put yourself out of your comfort zone, actively. If you're um you speak only English, you've never been outside of your country and you speak only English, well, go to a country that doesn't speak English and figure it out for like a few days and try to figure it out. That builds both resilience and adaptability, right? So in a way, question yourself. Do a list of your questions. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, and talk to yourself. And that's, I think, the type of reflection we need to be having. Women, male, entrepreneurs, non-entrepreneurs, just so we can first survive in the world as is today and then thrive. Let's first try to survive and be healthy and not unhealthy. And then let's think about
Yeah,
thrive
you know,
step by
you're
step.
speaking my language, you're speaking my words. It's everything I talk about it, you know, with my within my own business. And, you know, again, I was talking to someone on the pod today around you can't always be thriving. You can't always be up. It's that oscillation between the surviving and the thriving. But how do you know, when you're in survival, what do you do? How do you get yourself out of it? How do you adapt? How do you pivot is exactly what you're talking about. And, you know,
Yeah,
and then when you're thriving and you become comfortable in it, how do you then shake it up a little bit so that it's uncomfortable? It's like it's, you know, coming back into that unknown or, you know, exploration so that, you know, it's really interesting what you're talking about here. And it is a new world order, and that's what we need to be really harnessing and embracing. Do you think
yeah.
do you think society is ready for it, or do you think that, you know, like you know, and I know that's a big question because like you've been shedding your layers, I've been on my own formless journey the last few years. Like I sometimes wonder how many of us have been going through this experience, and yet, you know, and then there's a lot that probably are resisting it, but it's, you know, it's here.
Wow, that's a really big question. The answer is I don't know, but I genuinely do not know. In my experience, though, I see most people are resistant to change, scared of change. There's also the other aspect of it is social media, instant gratification. Uh, so one part of social media is instant gratification, is the doom scrolling, is comparing yourself to others in an unhealthy way that leads you to, going in like the vicious cycle that leads to procrastination, you not doing anything because all life is just shitty. And then there's the other element of social media, that's the news. The news is everything that's going wrong in the world. They never tell you about
Good
the
stuff.
person
I know.
who's going to Mars. They're telling you all of the about the bad stuff. So you cannot, in a way, escape the negative dogma in a way, unless you're not on social media or unless you give yourself a break from social media, which I do
Yeah, I
personally.
have
Like I
been.
know a lot of people work with IG and those platforms. I can't. I'm a boomer in my head. I don't use them. I don't like them. I when I feel like when I feel like I spend too much time scrolling, I delete the app automatically. So I have also that consciousness of, it is, even if I don't realize it, it is impacting me in one way or another, right? So I delete the app automatically. I don't like when other things have control over me.
Yeah.
So what I would urge people to do is to think about what things have control over you, what things are impacting your livelihood, your quality of life, the way you look at yourself, the way you perceive yourself, the way you perceive the world as well. There was time where all I've been watching is the news and politics, and the way I perceived the world was very negative, which is not the case. Like, not all people are horrible, not all people are
No, you're
pro-war,
so
not all
right.
people are narcissistic. But when you expose yourself to that on a daily basis, then that's what where your mindset shifts, right? Same thing with social media. If all you're watching is all of these people who are on jets, whether it's true or not, and wearing I don't know what designer, but you're in the living room struggling with your business, that's also going to impact you,
Yeah,
right?
I can't do it. Like, I actually will have to say, I have decided that I am on social media, but I'm on social media as me. What you see is what you get, and I'm probably doing it all wrong. And if I was to be speaking to any, one of the number one in the world, sales or marketing people or whatever, they'd be like, "You're doing it all wrong. You should be selling this or you should be doing this." But I'm like, I'm doing it the way I authentically want to be doing it because, that's just who I am, and I can't be falling into the what's the word? The vortex of just what I see because it actually it drives me crazy. So, yeah, I'm probably doing it all wrong, but and I'm probably missing out on so many things because of it. But I'm just like, I just have that's the only way I can play on social media is to do it in a way that makes it feels authentically me, like be like, do you know what I mean? Like, you said at the start that my energy comes across as just a real conversation. I can't remember what you said, but that's just who I am. I don't try and put it on. It's just who I am. So, and I think that's what's important as well. Like,
I
especially
agree.
in business. Mm,
No, I love that. Thank you for saying, especially in business. Listen, like we started the conversation, and I instantly opened up to you before we started recording, right? And that's when you authentically present yourself to people. That's what happens. It's just that on social media, people are attracted to the aesthetic of things, right? So authenticity does not play a huge role in sales on social media, which is fine. I don't have to be within that status quo, or like follow the flock of, I
formula,
don't know.
the formula.
Yeah,
Let's just say the formula. Yeah.
let's just, yeah, thank you. Follow the formula as is. I can recreate my own one and build my community around it. Find people who are like me and build my
Mm.
community. And I think for me, that's what I'm trying to do right now is find my people in the world. There aren't probably millions of them, but they're out there and they exist. And if I can impact those and they impact 100 more and they impact, then that's like the snowball effect. And that's mission accomplished. I'm happy. I feel like I'm the most successful person on earth. And that's how my brain works, right? It's not in the numbers, it's in someone coming to me and saying, listen, like when we did that workshop with you, it changed my life and now I'm doing XYZ. To me, that's it. Like I succeeded in life. What else am I am I looking for? And then on the other side, as women, we shouldn't forget the return on investment, the financial aspect of things,
100%.
income, so on, which we tend to forget sometimes. So like it's a balance between both, between who we are, presenting ourselves as who we are, building that impact, and truly being honest. With what we're delivering or we're bringing to people. Essentially, we're not trying to harm anyone in any way. And then the balance with, okay, but I need return on investment, I need to make money, I need to grow as well. Like there's a balance between both. We're not gonna be like billionaires. um I have my own opinions about that, and like VCs, and yeah.
So
We'll
tell
talk about that in another
Yeah, I was
episode.
about to say we'll have because it is nearly time for you, and I mean, you've got your day ahead of you, and I've got my day. winding down now. What, so you've obviously got you've been on your own, you've been on a journey. You've got the mastermind retreat sales events kind of all like ha coming together in your mind. You're, manifesting it. You sounds like you've started to kind of put it down on paper. What's next for you in the short term? Like what are you doing between now and the end of the year? Like what does that look like for you? Is it more exploration?
I feel like my goal from now to end of the year is to relax and let my artistic creative self take the lead, not my strategic mathematical self, because that's who's been driving for the past how many years. So now I want just to let go and let myself build whatever I feel like building without thinking materially about it. So the mastermind retreat is slowly becoming a thing. I'm hopefully launching a couple of events online, targeting founders in general. So I'm letting myself, try out or experiment with different things that I always wanted to experiment with, including podcasting, which I don't know if that will happen or not, but with a friend, it might happen. And then, of course, I will still have my consulting projects and my clients. That's not going to go anywhere. But I want to do less of that, more of the creative stuff, and see where those experiments lead.
I
I
love
think I
it.
at this point.
I love it. And you know what I heard from you just as you were talking through that, you've always had it sounds like you've had the male energy in you drive everything. And that was me. That was me in that was me up until like my mid 30s or so. And then I had a moment, I think I was about 37, I think at the time, I can't remember. But and we've got this female male energy, right? But my male energy was so dominant. It was just driving everything. And the female was just almost like shut down, even though I'm a female. And so what I had to do was then explore the female energy. And it sounds like to me that's what you're letting, like that's that kind of intuitive, the flow aspect, and just letting that come through and almost kind of reversing it for a while and putting the male energy to the back, letting the female energy just explore and do what you're talking about over the next, which I love because then you can come back and integrate the two together where it's more, I hate using the word balance, but it's more integrated. So it's less of, yes, you need to pull out the male energy, drives the wrong way, but you know what I mean, at times, but then you need to bring them out. And so it feels like you're recalibrating your energies within as well, which is super cool. And that's
I'm
that's
trying.
that's another discussion itself. That could be, oh gosh, I've just thought about that as a mastermind or a retreat. Like maybe we could do one together. I'm a bit older than you, but who knows? Like, do you know what I mean? So it's that sort of stuff. So I love that. My last question for you, because I think I'm questioned out and almost conversation out. Wow, what's my question for you? It's going to be on around unlocking women's potential. What would be what would be something you would say to a woman who was feeling stuck or locked in life, in leadership, or in business right now?
Well, the first thing I would want to say is talk about it. Actually put words, describe the way you're feeling or why you're feeling that way. The best exercise for me is to sit down with yourself, reflect, and start jotting down whatever comes to your mind. The more you write, the more things come up, the more you make sense of your feeling or why. Because most most cases we feel certain feelings but we don't know what was the trigger or why we're feeling this way or what was the thing that happened in life that led us to this place. And again, in most times it's a combination of different things, or it's the longevity of the same thing happening again and again and again, or for years on end. So sitting down and just reflecting, taking a moment for yourself in a nice place, hopefully by the beach, in the mountains, on your own, with your pen and paper, writing, writing, writing. I feel like that's where things come up and you can start identifying where it's coming from. And then talking to people, whether that be friends that you trust, people that understand you, can be also professional. It doesn't have to be, even friends are enough. And just listening to them, um, basically asking them, what do you hear from me? So, similar to what you just did, and you did it perfectly. I talked and you said, I can see that you had so like this male energy and then or masculine energy, and then now you're trying to work on your feminine energy and bringing it into in the center. That's absolutely like that. You cannot be more correct. And that's been what I jotted down. What came up to me is, where is my feminine energy? Where is my feminine self? Am I taking care of her? No, I haven't been. So you perfectly nailed it, right? But that's what you heard. Think about it the same way when you're talking to someone and you're saying all of these things after you've reflected, after you've written down everything, then you will it will allow you to listen to your thoughts, essentially, in different words or in different analysis, let's put it that way. And the more you talk to people who are different, who know you in different circumstances, someone who works with you, someone who's your best friend from childhood, someone who's your best friend when you were older in life and experience, or a daughter, a son, a husband, a parent, whatever, then you're hearing different things or different aspects of the same thing that you're saying. And that
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah. So good. Oh my
And
gosh.
then take action. Taking action is very important, like literally taking action, putting it in your calendar and actually doing it. And it should be small. It shouldn't be invest $1 million or now you need to make $100,000 next month. Make it small and do it.
Yeah, love it. Yes. Gosh, we were meant to chat months ago, and again I was saying to you at the start beforehand, I was like, oh, we I think I cancelled, I think you rescheduled, I think we both had a bit of stuff going on, and I think it was quite timely that we caught up right here, right now, because we've had such an amazing chat. And, both on our journeys in life, you in your 30s, me in my 40s, and, I've been 30 before, you're going to be 40, in the 40s at some point. It's all lived experience, right? So, that's what we're talking about here. And
Yeah.
what a great time to be alive. Like, it is a great time to be alive, ignoring all the stuff going on in the world. It's you get to choose how you live it. So I mean, how do we find out more about you? Where do we? I'll obviously put your details in the show notes. So yeah, but what's the best platforms to find you on, given that you're not in IG and
I think LinkedIn is the best
yes,
platform
yeah,
and it has all of my links in there. So
yeah, awesome.
LinkedIn would.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been awesome chatting with you, and yeah, you've really brightened my evening as well. I've had a great day talking to like some really incredible people. I feel like it's a collective of all these people that, oh, one day hopefully I see all, I don't know, talking together or something, who knows, or a select, not a select, but a group. But thank you so much. And I wish you all the success and happiness and joy in and exploring that feminine energy of yours, because let it come out is all I can say.
Thank you. Back at you, and I'll keep you informed on my journey. And I really, really appreciated our conversation. Truly, it was really interesting and really honest as well, which I appreciate.
And I thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.